Welcome to Delmarva Urban Chat. I'm the host of the show, Demetria Marshall Leonard, and today we have with us Jake Day, our former mayor of Salisbury. He is the Secretary of Housing, and today we got to not hurry this interview, but we have to get it rolling because he is a very busy man. And I mentioned and I alluded to the other day about the homeless situation that is in Wacomico County. Could you tell us about it and a little bit more about affordable housing and what will that do for us?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think it's important to understand where our housing crisis came from. Really in America, and it's true in Maryland and it's true in Wacomico County and Salisbury, 2007 was the last year that we were building housing where it was keeping up with demand. There were lots of things in the financial crisis that were done with respect to mortgages and real estate that caused and undergirded a crisis, and where things collapsed. It's understandable that the market stopped building stuff.
Right.
It's understandable that people got out of the building industry, that real estate developers dried up, that the market collapsed, that everything changed, but we never came back. So from 2008 to 2023, 15 years, we have underbuilt. And so like any market, this is true with anything. It could be, if we're talking about eggs or gasoline or houses, like any market, supply and demand still rules the day. And there are lots of other factors, and there's regulatory factors, but at the end of the day, demand continues to rise, and we have undersupplied. And what happens? The price of the commodity goes up, the price of housing goes up. So we have this market that is just strained, and catching up is not an easy thing. It's not an easy thing because we've got interest rates rising, we've got inflation, we've got labor shortages, we've got supply chain issues. It's just harder to build. And then on top of that, the worst challenge we all face with respect to building housing is that it's a popular thing for people to oppose. Everybody's for affordable housing, but not that affordable housing. Everybody's for housing, but not that housing, not in that place. So that's one of the great challenges we have, and ultimately what has happened in some jurisdictions in some states is they've taken zoning and permitting authority away from local government because local government has fallen victim to those people who are screaming and clutching their pearls and saying, you can't build that here. But we are in desperate need of units to respond. There's no pathway out of our housing crisis without building. And I think this is, to get to your point, really important to understand that it affects people at the lowest level first. So these issues roll down and affect people who are the most housing unstable first. And so chronically homeless are affected most. So at the end of the day, when there aren't enough roofs to go over people's heads, people end up without a roof over them. People end up on the street. And so that's layer one. But then you end up with this enormous layer of housing unstable people that are maybe in and out of shelters. Maybe they've got an apartment for a while, but then they get evicted, and then they get another one, and then they get evicted. Because they're having trouble making ends meet. And then you end up with everybody else, the rest of the population. And guess what? Housing is getting expensive for all of us. So whether that's a market rate apartment, whether that's subsidized apartment, whether that's a single family home or condo, all of it's getting more expensive.
Right.
The Lord isn't making more land, and we aren't making enough housing. And so prices are only going up. And I think it requires everyone, not just state government, to respond to that challenge.
So I really think, thank you. I was mentioning it on our show when I was talking to Mayor Heath. When you was in office, you would go above and beyond to help the homeless in our community, and thank you for that. Could you tell us, really quick, I know you have to go, your favorite music genre?
I like 90s alternative rock. I was a teenager then, and you hold on to those things that you loved as a kid.
Okay. And your favorite food?
Oh,
Where is your go-to spot?
well, first of all, easy favorite food. I mean, anywhere I go, it's going to be a cheeseburger. I like it, and I'm a really unhealthy cheeseburger eater, so I like burger, meat, cheese, bacon, mayonnaise. That's all I want. And my favorite go-to spot. Well, we're here in Ocean City, so I'll share. Last night, went to Liquid Assets and had a lamb merguez smash burger. Merguez lamb smash burger was amazing. Yeah.
So the next time he go to where you said you was at?
Yeah, Liquid Assets.
Liquid Assets. I need a plate or something.
Check it out.
And we want to thank you for coming on the show.
It's
and
my pleasure.
And I know he's going to be in Wacomico County. He has, moved on up in the world, but he hasn't forgot about us, and that's the good part. And we thank you. We thank you for just stepping up to the plate continuously.
I lay my head in Wacomico County every night. That's where my babies are. That's where I am. And so, look, I drive back. I commute every day. Go to other parts of Maryland, but I drive back to pick them up from school and get them to gymnastics and get home and get them to bed. So Salisbury will always be my home, and it'll always be important.
That part. Thank you, Delmarva, and thank you for allowing us to come into your living room and grace your presence. Deuces.
To spend the day down here on the Eastern Shore, especially here in Wacomico County.
There, vote, vote, vote. If we don't vote, we know what happens.